Hey everybody, well, guess what? Finally did it. I've been wanting to do one of these comic/cartoon style cakes for a while, but it's a departure from my typical upload, my typical tutorial. So this time I'm doing a Christmas theme, and I really kind of like this idea. I haven't seen this around, so I'm hoping that you guys enjoy this. Even though it's something different, give it a shot. Let's get started. So this type of a cake is something I would more typically do at work. And so I do these kind of things quite a bit, not exactly this design, but more party cakes, themed cakes like this. So I'm going to show you how I typically design or do my fondant decorations when I don't have a template or I don't have a cutter. What I'm doing is I found an image online. It is not a copyrighted image. My first thought was I really kind of wanted to do the Grinch. That was the image I had in my head with the Grinch hand. I'm sure you've all seen that image. But really, you don't want to do copyrighted things. If you can avoid it, don't do it. It's really not fair to the person that created the design. So I thought, what can I do? Let's do a Santa hand. So I did find an image online. It was not copyrighted, like I think I said already. And just go ahead and turn the brightness up on your laptop. Now make sure that if you have a touch screen on your laptop, turn that setting off. Otherwise, you're gonna be chasing your image around your screen, and that's no fun. So put a piece of wax paper, parchment, or tracing paper over your screen and just draw the outline of it. And then you take that and you put it on top of rolled out fondant, and you can use your Dresden tool like I used, or you can even use a pencil and just kind of go over the lines, and that leaves an impression on your fondant so that you have an outline of what you're cutting out. It's actually very easy. It just takes a little time, a little patience, but well worth it. So get this as clean as you can. I do rub my fingers around the outside edges, the cut edges. I don't know if I left that in here, but it just kind of softens up the line. And to make the ornament, I just used a cookie cutter to mark out the circle. I didn't press down on the top all the way. Actually, I did this twice. You can see there's another circle. I cut out the image and use it. It was a little easier to get the that top part. I don't know what you call that on the top part of the ornament, but I ended up just going ahead and cutting it out and attaching it to the circle that way. Two pieces instead of one. It's okay. And then I laid down that mitten on top of a rolled up piece of red fondant, just so that I was able to cut it out so that it matched the end of the cuff there. And just leave those to the side. You can put them over on top of a cake round, the circular part of it, so that if it starts to dry, it's got that curvature to it. And now I'm making those trees. I did meringues, and I'm using a petal tip and a French tip is what I'm using. And I'm just showing you how I put them in my bags. I put them in the bags, and then I use my scissors to score around them and then just kind of pull them off. That's how I like to do it. Now, I will link the recipe in my description of this video down below. So I'm not going to tell you the measurements, but I will tell you what I'm using. This is egg whites. Okay, I will tell you. I used 4 egg whites. Whip them up with the whisk attachment until frothy. Add your cream of tartar. Whip it up a little bit more, and then when it starts to get that soft peak, add your granulated sugar slowly, and then turn it on high and whisk it until you get stiff peaks. Very simple. Then put it in your piping bag, and it's easier to get the sticks on. I think if you put a little line of your meringue, put the stick on top of it, and then pipe your trees on top. I'm just doing a very simple zigzag pattern, and then just, like your scroll border pattern upside down on top of the other ones to get 2 different textures of trees. Now you can see, I was thinking of the Grinch, and that's why I did those trees like that, which I really like that idea, but I really don't want to do copyright things. So ixnay that, and we're gonna stick with the standard trees, the other 2 designs. And once those have baked, I bake them the day before, let them cool in the oven overnight, and I will link, that will be in the description also, all those details. And then I'm just using some black buttercream. That's all it is. You could use royal if you want to, but I don't typically have royal on hand. I'd have to make it special, but I always have some buttercream on hand. So I just used the black buttercream. And outline your trees in cartoon style. It doesn't have to be a solid line. In fact, it looks better without being a solid line. And you don't have to outline every little detail in those trees, but just enough to get the idea. And now I set those aside just to wait until I was ready to assemble them on the cake, because that will be the last thing that we do. So now we are putting on our buttercream on top of this was a 4-layer 8-inch cake, I believe, 7 or 8. I can't remember. And I'm just using bright white buttercream. I will link my recipe for that also. And I usually put that in an iCard on my video too. We'll see if I remember to do that. But I did add a little extra white food coloring to this buttercream because I wanted it white. It's always white, but sometimes it can get a tinge of yellow because when you're using all buttercream, butter is yellow. So add a little bit of white, and you can actually even add a little touch of purple, but be careful if you do that. Just a tiny, tiny dot of purple, you don't need a lot, will actually brighten up your buttercream also. And once I had done the buttercream, I put it in the fridge so that it would firm up for 20 minutes. And then I'm just attached those details, the fondant decorations, with a little bit of buttercream on the back of those. Just a little bit. You don't want them lumpy, just a tiny bit. You just brush it on. Then I was just gonna do, I did do, just kind of, I'm trying to replicate snow a little bit on top. Instead of doing a drip like you see on a lot of these comic cakes, I wanted to do snow. So I left it a little rough. And then I'm just attaching or sticking these straight in the top. Now, a trick to these is to get the comic look. You need a key to this, and something sometimes people miss out on is that you want it to look from the front like it is a cartoon, like it's flat, not like it's round. So put those trees as flat as you can, sticking out more so. And then I did put some crystals, some sugar crystals on the top and around the bottom there, just because, people are going to see your cake from all sides. So you want to make it pretty and make it look more like snow. You might not see that in the pictures or in the video, but if it were for an order, they would see that. And then we're just going to go ahead and do our outline all around the cake. You want to outline everything. That's what makes it look like a comic cake. And like those trees that just have the S pattern on them, I do go back and I add the outline to those also. Now the hand is a little bit more difficult because it's smaller, so I would use a very small tip when piping the details of the hand. I only had a number 2 tip, and I wish I had a number 1. That would have worked better. Just for the hand, the smaller details. Oh, I forgot to mention on those trees, on some of them, I used some 6 slits, just the red and the green ones, and then to be, like ornaments, and outline them with the black buttercream too. So that, there's a little pop of color. If there was going to be color, I wanted it to be the red and the green. I thought color is a little bit more eye-catching than just black and white. I debated for a couple of days. But green and red for Christmas, you got to do that, right? And then I just added a little bit more detail in that snow with the black, and I pulled those trees out a little bit further because they were still kind of curved around the cake a little bit. And to the final touch, what really pulled it together, which doesn't make sense if you're looking at the cake from the side, but from the front, what pulled it together was doing this line down the sides. Otherwise, the cake looked unfinished. It didn't look quite right. And I just cut off, can you see there, the arm was a little too long, the sleeve. So I just cut it off and then scraped off any remaining red on that buttercream. And since it was firm, I could just use my X-Acto knife and just kind of scrape that off lightly. But yes, like I was saying, when you look at this cake from the front, those side lines just tied it together. I mean, I was even thinking, I just don't even know if I like this. I don't know if I want to post this. And then I thought, wait a minute. I didn't think, actually. My boss came in. She's like, you know what? You're missing those lines. So that's why I did outline those other trees and did the lines on the side, and I think it definitely brought it together. And I really do hope you guys enjoyed this, because I do like doing this style of cake too. Not necessarily the comic cake, but more party cakes. I would like to post more of these, but there needs to be interest. So I hope you liked it, and I hope you give it a try. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my video. And if you'd like to watch some other videos, go ahead and click on the link to one of these other videos shown here. And if you would like to check out my other social media, I am on Facebook and Instagram under the same name, Sophisticakes by Mary. And please take the time to share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you know when I upload another video. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next tutorial.